Chapter 687. In the sky above the divine world. Qin Yu and the other god kings thought that this was the highest point of the divine world. In reality, there was another space above the so-called highest point. There were endless auspicious clouds here. And at the end of the auspicious clouds was a beautiful palace. Eldest senior brother, why are you in such a hurry? Although the birth of the new exalted celestial, and my master wanted to summon us, it would merely require an extremely short amount of time for me to act and kill that Qin Yu. After I kill Qin Yu, I would still be able to make it in time to go to the White Cloud Hall to see my master. Eldest senior brother, why are you stopping me? The thunder punishment exalted celestial angrily said to the floating feathers exalted celestial. At this moment, the flutter feather exalted celestial and the thunder punishment exalted celestial were flying one after the other. As for the new exalted celestial Cheho Yuan and the unfettered exalted celestial, they should have already reached the center of power of the entire universe, the White Cloud Palace. The reason why the floating feathers exalted celestial was a bit slower was because he had gone to intercept the thunder punishment exalted celestial. Second junior brother, is master's matter more important, or is your matter more important? Empyrean Flutterfeather's voice was cold. The thunder punishment exalted celestial's heart immediately palpitated with fear. Earlier, he was filled with anger because he was stopped by the fluttering feathers exalted celestial when he was about to attack. Only now did he recall the strength of the fluttering feathers exalted celestial and his influence in front of his master. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Empyrean Thunder Punishment respectfully and humbly said, I thank senior apprentice brother for the guidance. Honorable master's matter is indeed important. If it weren't for senior apprentice brother's guidance, I would have been blinded by hatred. It's good that you know. After meeting master, whatever you do has nothing to do with me. Empyrean Flutterfeather's face had a hint of coldness. Yes, elder senior apprentice brother. Empyrean Thunder Punishment suppressed the anger in his heart. Qin Yu, I will allow you to live a little longer. Empyrean Thunder Punishment had long wanted to kill Qin Yu, but because of the rules laid down by his honorable master and the threat of his elder senior apprentice brother, he had no choice but to endure. However, now that Cheho Yuan had become the new exalted celestial, he, the Thunder Punishment exalted celestial, could finally take revenge and kill Qin Yu. However, when he tried to do so, he was stopped. How could he not be angry? We've arrived at White Cloud Hall, Empyrean Flutterfeather said indifferently. In the distance was the White Cloud Palace, located deep within the countless auspicious clouds. It was the core of the White Cloud Palace that controlled the divine realm, the countless immortal devil and demon realms, and the countless mortal realms. Empyrean Thunder Punishment immediately restrained his aura. As he stepped onto the steps of White Cloud Hall, he was much more humble. Empyrean Fluttering Feathers and Empyrean Thunder Punishment entered White Cloud Hall one after another. The entire White Cloud Hall was very strange. The flow of time inside the White Cloud Hall was constantly changing. Sometimes it was several times faster. Sometimes it was 1,000,000 times faster. Sometimes it was billions of times faster. In short, the flow of time in the entire White Cloud Palace was constantly fluctuating. In a large hall inside the White Cloud Hall, Exalted Celestial Carefree and Exalted Celestial Cheho were standing respectfully to the side. In the center of the hall, there was a young man with a muscular build standing with his hands clasped behind his back. Empyrean Thunder Punishment immediately said respectfully, Greetings, Master. Greetings, Master. Empyrean Flutterfeather also said respectfully. At this time, the long-robed young man also turned around. He had a head of dark brown hair, deep eyes, and a warm smile. However, the long-robed young man had a frightening power that caused one's heart to palpitate. This person was Lin Meng, the person that Qin Yu addressed as second brother. After seeing his master, Empyrean Thunder Punishment's hatred towards Qin Yu was immediately buried in the depths of his heart. He did not dare to show any disrespect in front of his master. That was because he knew that his master could make him a celestial. However, his master could also make him lose everything in an instant. In the divine realm of the new cosmos that was close to perfection, Qin Yu was sitting cross-legged in midair. The divine realm of the new cosmos was currently desolate. There was no other life in it. Qin Yu's soul was in harmony with the new cosmos. Thus, he was very clear about the evolution of the new cosmos. Qin Yu was very clear about it. In Qin Yu's mind, there was a model of the evolution of the new cosmos. The divine realm is the highest level of the entire universe. It controls the power of the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. It controls the power of yin and yang. It also controls the power of lightning and punishment. The origin of the universe also needs to be in harmony with it. Qin Yu sensed the changes in the new cosmos. He was very clear about the operation of the new cosmos. Buzz! The entire divine realm shook violently. After that, the divine realm stabilized. Qin Yu couldn't help but have a happy expression on his face. The third layer of the new cosmos, the divine realm, was finally complete. Even if the divine realm is complete, it's still a small step away from the completion of the new cosmos. I reckon it'll take another month or 2. At this moment, Qin Yu was very clear about it. What the entire divine realm needed to do now was to make the divine realm, the immortal devil and demon realm, the countless spaces, and the countless spaces of the mortal realm. These 3 layers formed an organic whole to make the new cosmos even more complete. At this moment, the speed at which the new cosmos absorbed the grand mist spiritual energy was relatively slow. That was because the new cosmos had already reached the final stage of perfection. As time passed, the new cosmos gradually became more complete. A burst of grand mist spiritual energy was absorbed into the new cosmos. Boom! The entire new cosmos violently shook. Qin Yu immediately displayed an expression of ecstasy. His new cosmos was finally complete. However, immediately after, Qin Yu's expression became solemn. Within Qin Yu's mind, Qin Yu's glassy-colored soul was yuanying. Because the new cosmos was complete, a peculiar and mysterious energy was unceasingly assimilating into Qin Yu's soul. Qin Yu's soul immediately emitted a scarlet-red color. Then it turned golden yellow. After that, it turned hazy purple. Soon after, his entire soul became hazy. All kinds of colored lights were unceasingly radiating in all directions, enveloping his entire mind. Buzz! Qin Yu's hazy soul suddenly dispersed. It disappeared into thin air. Haha, so that's how it is. So it's actually like this. Qin Yu suddenly opened his eyes. Within his eyes, nebulae were circulating and the evolution of the cosmos. Qin Yu stood up. And now, half of my soul has actually directly fused with the entire new cosmos. Then as long as the new cosmos is not destroyed, I will be eternal. After the new cosmos was complete, Qin Yu's soul level advanced by leaps and bounds. Then his entire soul split into 2. One half of his soul directly fused with the new cosmos. The other half of his soul completely fused with Qin Yu's body. The current Qin Yu's soul had become an existence of nothingness. There was no way to harm it at all. As for his body, Qin Yu smiled and beckoned with one hand. Immediately, a stream of Xianhuang energy flew in front of Qin Yu. Since the new cosmos was complete, there was naturally no need for the Xianhuang energy to determine the 5 elements. When the new cosmos was complete, Qin Yu naturally learned of many peculiar divine abilities in his mind. When the new cosmos was born, the Xianhuang energy was the most miraculous. I only need 60% of the Xianhuang energy to be able to cultivate the Xianhuang indestructible body. With a thought, Qin Yu caused the majority of the Xianhuang energy to fuse into Qin Yu's body. Instantly, Xianhuang energy shot out from Qin Yu's body. Qin Yu extended a finger. A celestial spiritual treasure? From the looks of it, it's just an ordinary weapon. Once I cultivate the Xianhuang indestructible body, I can easily destroy a celestial spiritual treasure with a single finger. Qin Yu smiled faintly. The new cosmos was not the only divine ability. There were many other peculiar divine abilities. Among them, the most important one was the creation of all life divine ability. This newly born divine world is really desolate. Qin Yu smiled as he looked at the newly born divine world. Suddenly, an endless amount of seawater appeared in the desolate divine world. There were also 5 huge floating continents in the north, south, east, and west. Compared to Lin Meng's divine world, Qin Yu's divine world had a much larger land area. There's too little life. Qin Yu looked at the ocean and saw that it began to roll. A huge flood dragon that was 10,000 miles long began to roll in the ocean. One by one, underwater monsters were born out of thin air. Then countless different kinds of monsters were born. Qin Yu only created a few monsters. After that he stopped. It was very complicated to fill the new cosmos with life and various civilizations. Qin Yu did not have the energy to do so for the time being. As the creator of the new cosmos, the divine abilities he possesses are indeed various. Qin Yu was not in a hurry to return to the divine world. Instead, he began to experiment with various divine abilities. Phew! After walking out of the White Cloud Hall, the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial let out a long breath. Every time I face Master, the pressure is not small. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial instantly thought of Qin Yu. Qin Yu? Fortunately, the flow of time in the White Cloud Hall is not too fast. Only 1 year has passed in the outside world. Looking down, the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial seemed to be able to see the purple mystic mansion through the endless auspicious clouds. Qin Yu, you killed 3 of my sons and 2 of my grandsons. Now it is time for you to die. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial's heart was filled with anger. He rushed towards the purple mystic mansion. The purple mystic mansion was as peaceful as before. A purple-robed, silver-haired old man appeared in the sky above the purple mystic mansion. At this moment, the red mole between this old man's eyebrows was unprecedentedly beautiful. It was like dripping blood. He's not here. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial frowned. He scanned the entire purple mystic mansion with his divine sense, but was unable to find Qin Yu. This caused the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial to feel a burst of anger in his heart. Not here. That's easy. You killed several of my sons. Now I'll take back some interest. A cruel smile appeared on the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial's face. Qin Yu, come out. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial suddenly shouted. Qin Yu, come out. Qin Yu, come out. Qin Yu, come out. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial's voice was like 1,000 claps of thunder as it echoed throughout the purple mystic mansion. Everyone in the purple mystic mansion, including the God Kings, were all wrapped up by a terrifying pressure. Then, they were all brought to the vast plaza in front of the purple mystic mansion. Over 1,000 people were brought to this place. Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial. Jiangwan, Zhou Qiulin and them immediately recognized him. Their expressions immediately turned extremely ugly. Many of the Qin descendants also recognized him. They had all seen the image of the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial through the water screen. Speak, where did Qin Yu go? The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial stood in the sky above the plaza like a demonic god. The God Kings below were all frightened. There was no need to mention the heavenly deities and deities. As for the Qin descendants who were still immortals, they were even more afraid. Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial, what are you planning to do? Kuro was the first to shout coldly. Amen. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial humphed coldly. PFFF. As if his chest had been ruthlessly punched, Kuro directly sprayed out blood and fell to the ground. His complexion instantly turned pale. The strength of an exalted celestial was not something that God Kings could withstand. I'll ask again. If no one answers, I'll directly begin to search your soul. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial said coldly. Mother, when will father return? Qin Si sent a sound transmission to Jiangli. Jiangli lightly shook her head. Mother doesn't know either. However, he should be back soon. Little Si, no matter what, we cannot let your father fall into danger. There were over 1,000 people from the Purple Mystic Mansion on the plaza. Even with the addition of the God King servants, there were close to 20 God Kings. However, when facing the murderous Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial, the God Kings did not have the slightest bit of power to resist. For the last time, where is Qin Yu? The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial's expression was cold. Haha. Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial. With your methods, are you worthy of being an Exalted Celestial? If you want to kill me, then kill me. As for my big brother, You won't be able to find him at all. When you find him, my big brother will have sufficient strength to kill you. Kuro said coldly. Kuro had grown up with Chinyu. In terms of feelings, most likely even Kuro and Chinyu were not as deep as Qinfeng and Qinzheng. Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial Carefree is Ho-Fei's father. You also know of the relationship between Exalted Celestial Cheho and our Purple Mystic Mansion. If you attack us, even these two Exalted Celestials will not let you have an easy time. Jiangli loudly said. Good. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial laughed from extreme anger. Exalted Celestial Carefree? Exalted Celestial Cheho? The people from the Purple Mystic Mansion did not know that the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial was not afraid of those two. The only person he feared was the Floating Feathers Exalted Celestial. Ho! The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial extended his hand and lightly pressed down. The 1,000+ people present all felt a terrifying pressure. They couldn't help but kneel down on one knee. Your mouth is the hardest. Then I'll use Soul Search on you. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial coldly smiled as he looked at Kuro. He extended his hand and Kuro floated towards the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial. Monkey! Ho-Fei immediately became anxious. As for Kuro's wife, Bai Ling, she was so anxious that she was about to cry. However, it was useless. Kill me? Humph, if you kill me, you will also die in the future. Kuro looked at the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial without fear. Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial, stop. A voice filled with anger sounded out. The 1,000+ people present, including the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial, couldn't help but look towards the source of the voice. They saw the black-robed Chinyu walking over, one step at a time. Chinyu's complexion darkened as he stared at the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial. Chinyu. For some unknown reason, when the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial saw Chinyu appear, he felt his heart fiercely twitch. A trace of fear surged out from the depths of his heart. What am I afraid of? He is nothing more than a god king. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial steeled his heart. Haha, stop? What a joke. Today, I will kill him and then kill you. The Origin Sin Sword suddenly appeared in the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial's hand. The Origin Sin Sword transformed into a beam of light that swept towards Kuro. Its speed was so fast that the God Kings were unable to block it in time, nor did they dare to block it. Big brother, goodbye. Kuro didn't even look at the Origin Sin Sword. Instead, he turned his head to look at Chinyu, his gaze focused on Chinyu. Xiaohei, you will not die. Chinyu's voice resounded in Kuro's mind. Chinyu himself appeared in front of Kuro. The Origin Sin Sword directly chopped down on Chinyu's body, like a wooden sword chopping down on a diamond. Chinyu wasn't harmed in the slightest. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial was dumbfounded. The God Kings below were also stunned. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial's Origin Sin Sword was an Empyrean spirit treasure. Everyone knew how powerful its attack was. Yet, when it chopped down on Chinyu's body, it wasn't able to harm Chinyu in the slightest. Chinyu extended his forefinger and middle finger, and clamped down on the Origin Sin Sword. Impossible, impossible. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial roared. He couldn't believe it at all. He constantly urged the Origin Sin Sword to move, but when it was clamped down by Chinyu's fingers, the Origin Sin Sword was unable to move. It could only hum incessantly. Are you surprised? Chinyu coldly smiled. With a snap of his fingers, pung! With a clear sound, the Origin Sin Sword broke. Chinyu flicked his two fingers. The broken section fell directly to the ground. This scene caused the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial to be stunned. This is an Empyrean spirit treasure bestowed upon me by my master. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial couldn't believe it. Empyrean spirit treasure? Chinyu lightly flicked his middle finger on the broken Origin Sin Sword. Immediately, the broken Origin Sin Sword shattered into several tens of pieces and fell to the ground. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial stood there motionlessly. His strongest reliance, the Origin Sin Sword, was so easily destroyed by Chinyu. This was simply too great of a blow to him. In merely a short while the thunder punishment exalted celestial recovered. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Impossible. The thunder punishment exalted celestial was hysterical. With a low roar, he moved his hands, and a frightening power immediately formed between his hands. It was the single breath 8 elements. Junior brother, do not be rude. A loud shout was heard. A silver-haired, silver-eyed youngster flew over from the sky. Seeing that it was his eldest senior brother, the thunder punishment exalted celestial could not help but frown. However, the single breath 8 elements in his hand continued to swing toward Chinyu. Impudent! The floating feathers exalted celestial coldly shouted. He waved his hand, and a black light flashed past. The single breath 8 elements dissipated. Eldest senior brother, why did you stop me? The thunder punishment exalted celestial was finally unable to restrain his anger. He pointed at Chinyu. Eldest senior brother, this Chinyu killed 3 of my sons and 2 of my grandsons in succession. This enmity is absolutely irreconcilable with him. Furthermore, the origin sin sword that Master bestowed upon me was also destroyed by him. This enmity, this hatred, senior brother, tell me, how can I not take revenge? The corners of the thunder punishment exalted celestial's eyes were torn apart. His eyes were completely red. The red mole in between his eyebrows was unceasingly twisting and trembling. The floating feathers exalted celestial did not pay any attention to the thunder punishment exalted celestial. Instead, he respectfully flew before Chinyu. He then bowed and said, I pay my respects to Martial Uncle. Congratulations to Martial Uncle for your great success. Master has asked this disciple to invite Martial Uncle to the White Cloud Hall for a chat. Martial Uncle? The thunder punishment exalted celestial, who was filled with hatred and wanted to kill Chinyu, was now completely stunned. Chinyu smiled and said, Oh, I got it. Krevkor, wait a moment. I will go with you to see second brother. Second brother? The thunder punishment exalted celestial felt that his brain was not enough. Martial Uncle, you have greatly disrespected my second junior brother. However, I hope that Martial Uncle will be magnanimous and allow Master to personally punish my second junior brother. The floating feathers exalted celestial said respectfully. Chinyu slightly nodded. Good, he is second brother's disciple. As for how to punish him, let second brother decide. Soon after, Chinyu turned around. With a wave of his hand, a surge of life energy entered the bodies of the people below. In an instant, all of their injuries were completely healed. Compared to the God King of Life's life divine energy, it was many times more miraculous. Big brother, you've succeeded? Kuro's eyes were filled with excitement. Chinyu looked to Kuro. A strong sense of brotherly affection emerged in his heart. For a moment, Chinyu was unable to say anything. He merely patted Kuro's shoulder. Brother you. Jiangli also flew over. Jiang Lan, Qin Si and them all flew over. Earlier, when everyone saw the frightening strength that Chinyu displayed that greatly surpassed the exalted celestials, they were all truly shocked. There was no other explanation. There was only a single possibility. Chinyu's new cosmos had finally succeeded. Li Air Uncle Lan, everyone rest here for a while. I will go out first. Chinyu instructed. Earlier, everyone had also heard that Chinyu was going to see the masters of the floating feathers exalted celestial, the thunder punishment exalted celestial, and them. Just thinking about it caused them to feel fear. An exalted celestial actually had a master? Brother, you go ahead. Jiangli immediately nodded and said. Chinyu smiled to everyone. He then turned around and looked to the floating feathers exalted celestial. Krevkor, let's go. The floating feathers exalted celestial nodded. He then shouted to the thunder punishment exalted celestial. Second junior brother, quickly follow me to the White Cloud Palace. Martial Uncle? Second brother? At this moment, the thunder punishment exalted celestial still felt that everything was extremely strange. Chinyu was clearly a god king. How did he suddenly become the brother of his master? Quickly, let's go. The floating feathers exalted celestial shouted coldly. Yes, eldest senior brother. The thunder punishment exalted celestial immediately followed the floating feathers exalted celestial and Chinyu. The three of them directly flew upward. Soon after, they disappeared from the sight of the 1,000+ people of the Purple Mystic Mansion. Brother Jianglan, did I mishear earlier? That floating feathers exalted celestial addressed Qin Yu as martial uncle? This exalted celestial actually has a master? What is the name of this exalted celestial's master? God King Yifeng was also extremely shocked. Not only him, those God King servants Tanglan, Pu Taihong, Shen Tian, Huang Fulei, all felt as if they were dreaming. They were all thinking, if the exalted celestial was already that powerful, then how powerful would the exalted celestial's master be? Jianglan, Zhuo Qiulin and them looked to the ground. The several tens of fragments of the origin sin sword were on the ground. Everyone felt a burst of shock in their hearts. The scene of Qin Yu effortlessly flicking his finger and shattering the exalted celestial's spiritual treasure, the origin sin sword, into several tens of fragments appeared in their minds. What sort of strength is that? The God Kings all felt fear in their hearts. Countless auspicious clouds were floating. Deep within the auspicious clouds, in that white cloud palace. At this moment, Lin Meng was standing before the entrance of the white cloud palace. Behind him were the unfettered exalted celestial, and the Cheho exalted celestial. When Lin Meng saw Qin Yu's arrival, he immediately laughed and shouted, "Qin Yu, we finally meet again." Qin Yu also smiled and nodded. "Second brother. Let's go to the palace." Lin Meng immediately led the way. Regardless of whether it was Cheho Yuan or the unfettered exalted celestial, they were both shocked. So the martial uncle Lin Meng spoke of earlier was actually Qin Yu, who was only a god king. Inside the White Cloud Palace. "Qin Yu, please have a seat." Lin Meng and Qin Yu sat side by side in the palace hall. There were also several maids in the palace hall that immediately brought out all sorts of exquisite dishes. As for the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial and the other three, they were standing respectfully in the palace hall. Qin Yu before this settled the matter with Zhouan. Lin Meng saw the expression on Qin Yu's face and immediately said, "Zhouan is the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial's original name." Only then did Qin Yu learn about it. "This disciple is guilty. Master, please punish me." The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial. Zhouan directly kneeled down. Qin Yu also looked down at the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial. At this moment, the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial's forehead was dripping with cold sweat. Clearly he was extremely afraid. The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial had a lot of children. Not only were there children from the Thunder Punishment City, there were also children from the lower realms. To him, the death of several of his children was nothing much. Merely he, the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial, had been in a high position for a very long time. Since Qin Yu had offended him, he naturally had to take revenge. And now he was afraid. "You also know about it?" Lin Meng said indifferently. "Very well. Zhouan, I will not punish you too heavily. From now on, I will deprive you of your position as an exalted celestial and destroy all of your cultivation, so that you can reincarnate once more. As for whether you will be a human or an animal after reincarnating, what sort of accomplishments will you have? That will depend on your luck." Right after those words left his mouth, the Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial was immediately stunned. Qin Yu sighed in his heart. According to second brother's words, this Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial will have to experience countless calamities in the future without all of his cultivation. "No, Master. Master, didn't you say back then that our Zhou clan is destined to have the life of an exalted celestial forever? How could you deprive me of my position as an exalted celestial?" "Why?" The Thunder Punishment Exalted Celestial was unable to accept this. Lin Meng's expression turned cold. "Your Zhou clan is indeed destined to have the life of an exalted celestial forever. However, that does not mean that you will never fall. You, Zhouan, only have the life of an exalted celestial for 2 evolutions. Right now 2 evolutions have already passed. Your life as an exalted celestial has reached its end." After the cosmos had reached grand completion, Qin Yu came to know a lot of information. Evolutions was a method of calculating time. Every 6 quadrillion years was an evolution. Lin Meng continued, "As for your Zhou clan, Not long after your fall, that young man, Zhou Qing, will become the first person in my Lin Meng universe to comprehend time reversal on his own and become an exalted celestial. Comprehending time reversal on his own? No wonder second brother asked me to give the Thunder Origin spiritual pearl to that Zhou Qing. Qin Yu, who was at the side, was also surprised. Qin Yu knew very well that as the creator of a universe, everything in the universe was under his control. Even the fate of anyone in the universe could be calculated. However, this was Lin Meng's universe. Qin Yu was unable to calculate Zhou Qing's fate, but Lin Meng could. Zhou Qing? No, how could it be him? The exalted celestial of the Zhou clan should be me. The Thunder Punishment exalted celestial was unable to accept this at all. Humph. Lin Meng coldly snorted and waved his hand. No. Exalted Thunder Punishment's horrified voice had just sounded when his entire body turned to dust. Only a speck of light disappeared from the world. The hearts of the three exalted celestials below trembled. In truth, at the level of Qin Yu and Lin Meng, an exalted celestial wasn't much at all. They could make someone their universe's exalted celestial at any time. After settling the matter of exalted Thunder Punishment and eating, Qin Yu and Lin Meng walked out of White Cloud Hall side by side. Qin Yu, now that your universe has reached grand completion, it's about time you went to see your big brother. Lin Meng said with a smile. Qin Yu often wondered in his heart. Second brother is Lin Meng? Who is this big brother? Qin Yu still didn't know much about the outside world. But from what Lin Meng said, this big brother should live in the Grand Mist space. In the past, Qin Yu hadn't been able to enter the Grand Mist space. But now that his new universe had reached grand completion, Qin Yu could easily enter the Grand Mist space. Within the Grand Mist space, endless slowly flowing Grand Mist spiritual energy flowed. Qin Yu and Lin Meng flew side by side. Wherever they passed, the Grand Mist spiritual energy would automatically open a path for the two of them. The Grand Mist space was vast and boundless. Qin Yu and Lin Meng were chatting and laughing. Second brother, I remember that when I was in the immortal devil and demon realm, I reached the black hole realm. When I heard someone say, little friend, we'll be waiting for you. It was you and big brother, right? There were also people who said, I'm not alone on my path. Qin Yu said with a smile. Qin Yu had been thinking about this question for a long time. Lin Meng laughed. You're talking about that? That's right, it was indeed me and big brother. Back then, the two of us were simply too happy. Big brother. And I really didn't expect that there would be someone who could connect to the Grand Mist space. When you can connect to the Grand Mist space. In fact, when you reach that step, even if your cultivation technique isn't perfect, big brother, and I can still help you. However, you're very amazing. You walked step by step, and relied on yourself to reach the most perfect step. Qin Yu also smiled. Qin Yu, you can't imagine the mentality of big brother and I. The time I waited can be considered short. It's only been a bit more than 2 evolutions. Big brother, on the other hand, has waited over 1,000 evolutions. The two of us are looking forward to having more people like us. After all, we've been alone for too long. Lin Meng said with a sigh. Qin Yu's heart trembled. Over 1,000 evolutions? A single evolutions was 6 quadrillion years. Over 1,000 evolutions, how long was that? That big brother of his had truly been alone for a long time. Big brother Lin Meng, according to what you said, there should only be 3 universes in the entire Grand Mist space right now? Qin Yu said. Lin Meng nodded and said, that's right, there are only 3 universes. Big brother's universe is the oldest. My universe is also 2 evolutions. As for yours, haha, I reckon you haven't even created life yet. Qin Yu nodded. That's right, I haven't had the time yet. There's no need to rush. However, Qin Yu, speaking of this, big brother and I both admire you greatly. Lin Meng said with a sigh. Oh, admire me? Qin Yu asked, a bit surprised. Lin Meng smiled and said, you might not know, but when I first cultivated the Grand Mist body, I relied on my striking power to break through the barriers of my original universe and rush into the Grand Mist space. Then I met Big Brother, and he taught me how to create a universe. Only then was I able to create it. As for Big Brother, Big Brother was the first life form in the entire Grand Mist space. After he was born, who knows how long it took for him to learn how to create a universe and create life. Big Brother's talent is extraordinary. He was the first life form in the Grand Mist space. It doesn't matter if he created a universe, but what about me? I only rushed out of my original universe. As for you, without my help or Big Brother's help, you created a universe on your own. Tell me, if you can do this, how could Big Brother and I not admire you? Qingyu smiled. However, Qingyu also knew that the Grand Mist space was extremely dangerous. Unless one cultivated the Grand Mist body, where one's body and Grand Mist spiritual energy could fuse into one, they wouldn't be harmed. Or if one had the black-yellow indestructible body, they would be able to resist the pressure of the Grand Mist space. Even an Empyrean didn't have the ability to enter the Grand Mist space. Currently, in the entire universe, the only ones that could enter the Grand Mist space were Qingyu, Lin Meng, and his big brother. That's right, second brother. When Lin Meng's Empyrean mountain descended in the universe, you finally chose Empyrean Cheho Yuan. Why is that? Is his virtue high? Qingyu asked, puzzled. Qingyu simply couldn't understand why Lin Meng would choose Cheho Yuan. Cheho Yuan, speaking of Cheho Yuan, to be honest, he has been wronged. Lin Meng sighed. Wronged? Qingyu was surprised. Lin Meng nodded. Qingyu, you might not know, but this Cheho Yuan's accomplishments in the refining path have already reached the pinnacle. The fixed origin bead that he finally created is simply a prototype of the universe. Qingyu recalled the fixed origin bead. The inside of the fixed origin bead was only a universe. Prototype? Second brother, what do you mean? I also know about the fixed origin bead. Although it is strange, there are no space laws or time laws within it. Qingyu said, puzzled. Lin Meng smiled and shook his head. Big Brother and I carefully observed Cheho Yuan for a long time. In truth, the process that Cheho Yuan used to create the fixed origin bead was nearly identical to how Big Brother used Grand Mist spiritual energy to create the universe. Exactly the same? Qingyu looked at Lin Meng. Yes. Unfortunately, Cheho Yuan was unable to enter the Grand Mist space. The materials he used were taken from various mortal worlds. And in the end, they complemented each other, and the effect was similar to Grand Mist spiritual energy. But those materials didn't have the effect of Grand Mist spiritual energy. In the end, he was only able to create the fixed origin bead. Lin Meng shook his head and sighed. If this Cheho Yuan had used his talent on cultivation, he might have been able to rush out of the universe and create a new universe. However, he spent all of his energy on refining tools because he was unable to use a large amount of Grand Mist spiritual energy. No matter how talented he was, the fixed origin bead was far from a universe. Qingyu nodded. He somewhat understood. What a pity. A person who could have been like us walked down the wrong path. Thus, I decided to compensate him and allow him to become an Empyrean. It's just that I still feel regret for him. Lin Meng shook his head and sighed. Qingyu also felt regret. When Qingyu first saw the fixed origin bead, he had felt that it was very similar to the universe. Within the fixed origin bead, even the space laws couldn't be used. This was already a rough prototype of the universe. Unfortunately, creating a universe required a massive amount of Grand Mist spiritual energy. Even if this Cheho Yuan ran through millions of mortal worlds and gathered all sorts of materials, no matter how good they were, they still wouldn't be able to compare to the primordial Grand Mist spiritual energy. As Qingyu and Cheho Yuan chatted, every step they took was as long as a divine world. After chatting for a short while, Qingyu and Lin Meng arrived at their destination. In the depths of the boundless Grand Mist spiritual energy, there was a floating cottage. In front of the cottage, there was a short but sturdy osmanthus tree. Under the osmanthus tree, there was a stone table. Around the stone table, there were 3 stone stools. This was the residence of their big brother. The surroundings were filled with boundless Grand Mist spiritual energy. In the center, there was a floating land with a radius of several tens of meters. Qingyu took a step into the floating land in front of the cottage. His gaze landed on the middle-aged man sitting by the stone table. This middle-aged man was wearing a simple sackcloth gown. His long hair was casually draped over his shoulders. His entire person was slovenly. At this moment he was drinking wine cup after cup. His eyes were fixed on a golden book in front of him. Big brother. Lin Meng immediately moved. The middle-aged man raised his head. He saw Lin Meng, then looked at Qin Yu. He was instantly overjoyed. Haha, this must be my third brother, Qin Yu. Haha, this is wonderful. I finally get to meet you, third brother. The middle-aged man was extremely enthusiastic. He immediately stood up and greeted Qin Yu and Lin Meng. Qin Yu and Lin Meng immediately sat down. Come. Have a taste of the wine I made. This wine is made from many materials from my universe. It's very good. The middle-aged man flicked his sleeve, and wine cups appeared in front of Qin Yu and Lin Meng. Lin Meng smiled towards Qin Yu. Qin Yu, big brother is a very good person. You don't need to be so reserved. Right, big brother hasn't told you his name yet. His name is Hongmeng. Hongmeng. Qin Yu was startled. Hongmeng laughed. Is there anything you don't understand? Haha. To be honest, because I am the first living being in this space, I named this space the primordial space. Qin Yu was enlightened. Qin Yu, I waited over 1,000 evolution epochs for Lin Meng to appear. But I never imagined that after just 2 evolution epochs, you would appear. I am truly overjoyed. Haha. Hongmeng laughed loudly. The first living being in the primordial space was also extremely excited. Only by creating a universe could one be considered a life on the same level as Hongmeng. Hongmeng was naturally overjoyed to have 2 of his own kind. Qin Yu, there is something else I need to tell you. Your universe hasn't been completed yet. Hongmeng laughed as he spoke. He flicked his sleeve, and a mirror made of water appeared in front of him. 3 massive universes appeared on the mirror. Qin Yu turned his head to take a look. What's going on? Qin Yu was shocked. Qin Yu immediately recognized that the rightmost universe was the universe he had created. The other 2 universes were created by Lin Meng and Hongmeng. Now you know the difference. Lin Meng's universe, besides the main universe in the center, has 4 subsidiary universes around it. The subsidiary universes are only 1/10 the size of the main universe. However, this can make the main universe more stable. This state is also the most perfect state. Hongmeng waved his hand, and a leaf fell from a nearby cassia tree. Hongmeng handed the leaf to Qin Yu. Qin Yu, the method to create the 4 subsidiary universes is inside. Don't worry. When you return and have nothing to do, just create them. Thank you, big brother Hongmeng. Qin Yu immediately received the leaf. Qin Yu, you only have the ability to calculate the fate of the beings in your universe, right? Hongmeng laughed. Qin Yu nodded, puzzled. Big brother Hongmeng, is there something strange about that? Lin Meng and I can calculate the fate of any living being in our universe. Once your universe has living beings, the 2 of us can do the same. Hongmeng said mysteriously. Why is that? Qin Yu didn't understand. Lin Meng laughed. Big brother, stop teasing Qin Yu. Summon the primordial golden roll. Primordial golden roll? Qin Yu heard a name he had never heard before. You will know in a while. Hongmeng waved his hand, and Qin Yu could clearly see a golden roll in the distance. It passed through the endless primordial spirit qi, and floated over from billions of kilometers away. That golden roll flew in front of Qin Yu, Hongmeng, and Lin Meng. Phew. Qin Yu could clearly feel that the golden roll had a special kind of pressure. It actually made his heart palpitate. Qin Yu carefully looked at the roll. This primordial golden roll was 6 meters long and half a meter wide. The entire primordial golden roll was golden color. Behind the primordial golden roll, there was a huge word that was the same size as the primordial golden roll. This word was very strange. Qin Yu recognized it at a glance. It was exactly the same as the All People seal in the All People seal. He couldn't recognize it with his eyes, but the original meaning of this word naturally appeared in his mind. That huge word was Meng. Now the first row of the primordial golden roll also had 2 words side by side. They were also complicated words, but Qin Yu could easily recognize them. They were Hong and Lin. Qin Yu, this is the primordial golden roll. As long as you are listed on the primordial golden roll, You will have the identity of a primordial master. As a primordial master, you can calculate the fate of almost every life in the primordial world, no matter which universe it is. At the same time, you can use the energy of any universe. Hongming said with a smile. Primordial master? Qingyu was shocked. The primordial space is boundless. As time passes, universes will naturally appear one after another. This primordial golden roll is naturally born from the primordial space, just like me. This primordial golden roll is used to manage the entire primordial space. Hongming said with a smile. Lin Ming nodded. Qingyu, as long as you fuse a wisp of your soul imprint into it, you will become a primordial master. The first row of the primordial golden roll only takes up half of the two words Hong and Lin. The first row can have two more words. Qingyu said with a smile. With a thought, Qingyu sent a wisp of his soul power over and fused into the primordial golden roll. The primordial golden roll suddenly lit up. The golden light shot out from the primordial golden roll and instantly covered the endless space. Even the three universes were within its range. Moments later, the primordial golden roll returned to its normal state. The first row of the primordial golden roll was Hong, Lin, and Qin. All of a sudden, a boundless amount of information gushed forth from Qinyu's mind. This included the information regarding the Grand Mist space, as well as all the information regarding the Grand Mist cosmos and the Lin Meng cosmos of his big brother and second brother. As expected, as a primordial master, he knew the information of any universe. He could calculate the fate of any person. So that's how it is. Qingyu finally understood why the first row of the primordial golden roll could have 4 rows of words. I didn't expect primordial masters to be divided into ranks. The third brother Qingyu smiled inside. Of course. The big brother Hongming nodded. Those in the first row of the primordial golden roll are first-grade primordial masters. They are the highest-grade primordial masters. Besides these 4, the others are ordinary masters. Qingyu also understood. As time passed, people who created universes would appear one by one. Naturally, there would be a hierarchy. The first 4 people would be first-grade masters. As for the people after that, they would be ordinary masters. They would be controlled by the first-grade masters. Although the primordial space is boundless, the primordial golden roll has set the rules for the stability of the primordial space. In the entire primordial space, only the 4 largest universes are allowed to be created. Qingyu, your universe, my universe, and Big Brother's universe are all the same size. There will only be 4 such large universes. As for the future, even if someone creates another universe, it will only be 1% the size of our universe. Qingyu nodded. Qingyu also understood that the strength of the creator of a universe was proportional to the size of the universe. The larger the universe, the more powerful the various supernatural powers. There are only 4 first-grade masters. Now there are 3. I wonder who will be lucky enough to obtain the last spot. Qingyu said with a smile. Qingyu also knew that after being listed on the primordial golden roll, Qingyu had an additional name, Qinmeng. Qinmeng, Qinyu's universe, was also called Qinmeng universe. The people who create universes should be born from people whose fates cannot be predicted. Hongmeng said with a smile. Qingyu nodded. After becoming the primordial master, Qingyu was able to predict the fates of almost everyone in the universe. However, it was only almost. In a universe, there were dozens of people whose fates Qingyu was unable to predict. For example, Qingyu Lin Meng. I was unable to predict your fates. Both of you succeeded, of course. There are over 10,000 people in every era who are unable to predict their fates. However, those who are able to create universes are extremely rare. Hongmeng smiled and shook his head. Hongmeng suddenly cried out in surprise. Lin Meng, in your universe, there is a mortal world space. There are actually 6 people with uncertain fates in that space. It was almost inconceivable. In a single era, there were only over 10,000 people in a universe. Normally, in a single moment, there would only be dozens of people whose fates were uncertain. But in a single universe, there were over 10 million mortal worlds. In these 10 million mortal worlds, there were actually 6 people with uncertain fates in the same space. Oh, I also discovered that space. Oh right, that space is a technological universe. It is the hometown of one of Qin Yu's masters, Lei Wei. Lin Meng said with a smile. Qin Yu also managed to calculate it. The hometown of his master, Lei Wei, was a technological universe that was already extremely advanced. In that mortal world space, there were actually 6 people with uncertain fates. Moreover, 3 of them were on Earth. Haha, let me fill in the blanks and see if this space can give birth to a primordial master. Hongming laughed. He picked up a cup of wine and casually sprinkled it. That cup of wine immediately pierced through the primordial master space and flew into the technological universe of the mortal world. Finally, it flew towards Earth. Although it was only a cup of wine, it was meticulously brewed by primordial master. It might not be of much use to Qin Yu, Lin Meng, and the others, but that cup of wine was extremely useful to God Kings and Empyreans. Big brother, second brother, I haven't had a good time with my wife and children after I succeeded. I also haven't seriously created anything in the Qin Meng universe. Then I'll take my leave first. When everything is settled, I'll come back and have a good time with you. Qin Yu said with a smile. Hong Meng and Lin Meng both smiled and nodded. The future is endless. There will be plenty of time. Hong Meng said with a smile. Qin Yu immediately left. With a teleport, he disappeared into the endless primordial master space. As for Hong Meng and Lin Meng, they were still in the primordial master space. They were drinking and chatting in front of a floating thatched cottage. Purple Mystic Mansion. A group of people gathered in the courtyard. What, you still haven't found him? Jiang Li was anxious. At this moment, the entire Purple Mystic Mansion was clamoring. Many people had gone out to search for Qin Yu's youngest son, Qin Shuang. No one had expected that Qin Shuang had actually slipped away by himself. Mother, don't worry. Second brother might have gone somewhere to play. He will return soon. Qin Si comforted her. Li don't worry. Many God Kings have gone out to search for him. They will definitely find him. Jiang Long comforted. At this moment, Kuro and Ho Fei were also here. Qin Shuang's sudden disappearance had indeed caused the entire Purple Mystic Mansion to be in a state of chaos. Qin Shuang's strength was too weak. Thus, everyone was naturally worried about him. Sigh, this child little Shuang. I merely scolded him and he actually slipped away. It's all my fault, all my fault. Jiang Li complained to herself. Li, what's wrong? From the entrance of the courtyard, Qin Yu, who was wearing a black gown, walked in with a smile on his face. When they saw Qin Yu, the large group of people in the courtyard immediately calmed down. With Qin Yu here, the matter would definitely be settled quickly. Brother Yu. When she saw Qin Yu, Jiang Li was about to cry. Little Shuang has disappeared. I merely told him that Brother Yu's martial technique had reached a large success, and that you would be able to help him increase his cultivation speed. However, this child actually rebelled, and said that he would be able to do it by himself. At that time, I did not pay attention to it. Never would I have expected that when I turned around, he had already disappeared. Seeing Jiang Li about to cry, Qin Yu said, well then don't worry. Little Shuang is fine now. He has gone to a mortal realm. With a thought, he knew where his son was. Mortal realm? Jiang Li felt relieved. In the mortal realm, that Qin Shuang could be considered to be safe. Qin Yu also knew that it might be because his father, mother and older brother all had great accomplishments that this son of his had become too depressed. This had caused him to have a rebellious personality. Li, little Shuang is currently in the hometown of my master Lei Wei, that technological cosmic space. Qin Yu smiled and looked at Qin Si beside him. Little Si, you must also focus on your cultivation. Who knows, little Shuang might have greater accomplishments than you in the future. Oh, Qin Si was somewhat surprised. However, Qin Yu himself knew very well that his youngest son, Qin Shuang, was someone whose fate was uncertain. And now, Qin Shuang had gone to the mortal realm science and technology cosmic space, where the number of people whose fate was uncertain was the highest. What path would his son take in the future? Qin Yu himself could not be sure. Lier Xiaohei by Ling, Fei Fei Zixia, Hongyun, my Qinming cosmos has already been completed. Now is the time for me to create all kinds of living things. You all should also follow me and try to explore it. At the same time, you all should give me some ideas," said Qinyu while smiling. Ho Fei and Kuro's eyes immediately lit up. Wow, create all kinds of life forms? Ho Fei was so excited that his body started to tremble. Even Kuro started to laugh happily. "Uncle Lan." Qinyu was about to say something. Jiang Lan said with a smile. "Well then, I'll play chess with your father and them, enjoy tea and chat. As for that exciting life of yours, it's better for you all to do it yourselves." Qinyu nodded with a smile on his face. "Gaga, let's go." Ho Fei shouted excitedly. Qinyu, Jiangli, Kuro, Bailing, Ho Fei, Zixia and Hongyun. These three brothers brought their wives and directly stepped into the new cosmos. They began to create the new cosmos, life forms and civilization. After stepping into the Qinming universe. "Big brother, why is this universe called the Qinming universe?" Ho Fei asked. "Oh, that's because..." Qinyu was about to answer. However, Qinyu suddenly recalled something. That kid Qin Shuang is also someone whose destiny cannot be determined. If he were to truly become the Grandmist Master, and be ranked on the Grandmist Golden rankings, then wouldn't there be two Qinmengs? Would he have the same name as his father? As Qinyu thought about it, he started to smile. In his heart, he was also looking forward to Qin Shuang's future journey. Immediately after Qinyu, Ho Fei and Kuro brought their wives, and began the interesting days of creating civilization and life. As for Qinyu's son Qin Shuang, he also began a journey on Earth that was not inferior to his father's. End of book. Chapter 688. I would like to thank everyone for their support over the past 11 months. During this time, Tomato has finally completed his third novel, Stellar Transformation. This novel did very well, but in the later stages of Stellar Transformation, Tomato's body and mind couldn't take it anymore. Tomato wrote 3 xianxia novels, and the 3 books had a total of 6 million words. Writing xianxia novels all the time made him mentally tired. In addition, Tomato had been coughing for the whole of April. Even though the coughing subsided, it didn't stop. Well, Tomato had enough time to rest now. As for the new book, haha, the new book will be a Western fantasy novel. Tomato had been thinking about this novel even before Stellar Transformation started. After thinking about it for a year, Tomato was more and more confident about this novel. Actually, writing xianxia novels all the time was mentally tiring, and the passion was getting less and less. But Tomato was still full of passion for writing Western fantasy novels. Tomato felt that, yes, it could be said that Tomato's new book, this Western fantasy novel, Tomato was confident that it would catch up or even surpass Tomato's previous 3 novels. May 21st. The new book, this Western fantasy novel, will be uploaded on May 21st. Tomato will inform everyone when the time comes. As for how the new book will turn out, everyone will know when they read it on May 21st. Yes, that's all. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.